Welcome to our channel. Political activist and legal mind Dele Farotimi just made a shocking declaration. Nigeria's 1999 constitution is completely useless. But wait, isn't this the same document that governs Africa's largest democracy? What's wrong with it? Fraud? Manipulation? Colonial hangover? In this video, we break down Farotimi's explosive claims and why this could change Nigeria forever.
We already know as a fact that our country has become a criminal enterprise, governed essentially by criminals, and it is certainly not for our benefit. Now, what do we do with that knowledge? I think those are the kind of conversations we should begin to seek
moving
these
forward.
days. Because I think some old-time journalist, when I was younger, I read it, I can't remember his name now, it might have been Shino Odugbemi. He said something along the line that the biggest problem we have in Nigeria is our inability to articulate and then follow through on a path out of the mess we're in. It's already clear that Nigeria is a criminal enterprise. I grew up knowing that. I've known it as a knowledge, conscious knowledge, for at least 40 years. So if I have known that for 40 years and I've lamented for 40 years, others have lamented, people like you who should have been offered some directions by my own generation have joined us in the lamentation. That's a tragedy. We must now begin to chart a path out of this tragedy. And I think wherever we are going to stand, we must find a point where we draw the line. And having drawn that line, we must stand behind that line unrepentantly. I believe that the shortest cut to that line should be the electoral reform. If you are truly citizens of any place called a country, and it pretends to be a democracy, the minimum is that you should have a voice in your governance.
Yes.
But me and you know that that is not the truth about our country. Instead of dissipating energy elsewhere, why can't we all, whether you like the government in power today or not, politics is constantly evolving.
Or should we say in this case it's even...
No, ours hasn't evolved because we haven't played politics. We've been held hostage. Our reality is that we are not citizens. We lie to ourselves. You tell yourself you are a citizen of Nigeria. No, you are not. Citizens are governed by law.
Yes.
And when they are governed by law and they are in a democracy, they should be able to say who should govern them. But in a space where the voice of the man telling Chinedu to stay at home is louder than the voice of those who are looking to exercise their franchise, something must be wrong there. Especially when the summoner of Mama Chinedu, as a policeman, stood right behind him. How do you explain that? So if our votes do not count, that should at least be the point where we begin to demand some equity for ourselves. If it is a company, right? And we are meant to be shareholders in the company, certainly we should be able to
have a
vote
say
in the affairs of that company. Those of you who have any knowledge of law, you'll be familiar with the Force and Aboku rule.
Yeah, he's a lawyer.
Yeah, exactly. So at a minimum, even if I'm a minority shareholder in the company, as long as I'm a shareholder, my rights are deserving of protection.
Exactly.
But no Nigerian right is protected.
I agree, sir. So do you, if there are no electoral reforms going forward, because the government in power today doesn't seem to be bothered about it, would you be bothered to be politically active in the next political cycle?
Why should I be waiting for any political situation? If we are all agreed as a collective, if the preponderance of opinions amongst Nigerians mobilized and fully expressed either by protests, demonstrations, boycotts, if we have adequately transmitted our feelings to those responsible for the reform, and they say no, who is to stop us from expressing our desire?
I agree.
Who is waiting? If you are waiting for 2027 before effecting any change, you've lost 2027 already. These aren't people who care anything. The law does not even matter to them.
Yeah.
Nigerians aren't paying attention. You don't have a democracy. Your constitution is useless. That is the reality.
Fair.
If you ever wondered how useless your constitution is, look at Rivers State.
Exactly.
That should convince you. Let's forget how, even though it is an imperfect fraud, I have had occasion to speak to the fraudulence of Decree 24 too many times. So I'm not even talking about its legitimacy. But as long as it pretends to be the existing legal order in Nigeria, how do you explain the fact that the man who has been declared the president of Nigeria, who swore to uphold that constitution, is trampling all over it? One, in removing the democratic structures in Rivers State.
True.
Two, in installing a military dictatorship, because that is exactly what it is in Rivers State.
True.
And almost every institution, quote and unquote, that should have worked to check the desecration of the fraud are stood by, either applauded. Look at what took place in the name of ascension to the state of declaration. Look at what took place. Voice vote.
Yeah.
The Hayes have it, where the
Hayes don't have
constitution
it.
clearly says that there should be a 2/3, which meant that you should have taken attendance, the roll should have been taken, and then you take proper numbers.
Yes.
Nothing of the sort happened, and in the same chamber where they are busy singing on his mandate, they are standing. They don't care about the constitution, and we're still talking about 2027. They have written that result already. The sooner we all come to the knowledge of the fact that this is not a democracy, you are not citizens. The law does not rule in Nigeria. The sooner we all come to that knowledge, forget all these ethno-religious bickering, the partisan divide, because the same power that Tinubu is using today, somebody else, if it's not changed, somebody else will inherit it tomorrow.
Of course.
And
They will do worse.
Yeah.
Because when Buhari
we're already setting a
when
precedent
Buhari
for that,
was
so.
setting the precedent that this one is following,
We're all looking.
we were all hoping that we would deal with them the way we dealt with Jonathan. But they are the ones who have now become the organs, and they are dealing with each and every one of us. So sooner we come to that knowledge, organize around the need to demand these reforms, so that we may at some point be as citizens.
Yeah.
True.